What's up, everyone? It is Armchair Commentary, aka David Smith, back with another brief history. And who are we talking about? Well, you can see it. It's right there. Broncos country. Let's talk about the Denver Broncos. Denver Broncos were an AFL team based in Denver, founded in the 60s, 1960. They were in the Western Division, and they are best known early on for winning the first ever AFL game. The Bob Howsam Denver Broncos, founded August 14th, 1959, became the first. They won the first ever AFL game when they beat the Boston Patriots 13-10, September 9th, 1960. Now, this team went on and did a whole bunch of things under there, but the most important era for the Denver Broncos, the most important era, was Dan Reeves' era, the 1981 to 1992 Broncos. Now, I say the most important, even though this isn't when they became Super Bowl champions. None of the Dan Reeves teams won a Super Bowl. Dan Reeves became the coach in the NFL when he joined the Broncos in 81 as the vice president and head coach. Elway played quarterback at Stanford. You may have heard of John Elway. He's a well-known quarterback, I think. He's probably one of the most five known quarterbacks from that I grew up hearing about. Grew up hearing about Marino, Elway, Kelly. Like, those are the guys that I heard about growing up. And realistically, Elway was probably the other guy. He played college at Stanford and was originally drafted by the Baltimore Colts, but didn't want to play for the Colts. He actually proclaimed that he'd rather play baseball than play for the Colts, which is, something we might see here. Caleb Williams, I'm looking at you. Rather play another year at USC than come out and join the Bears. The Yankees actually drafted Elway to play center field, and he was a pitching prospect, but they decided, you know what? We're going to trade you. You've got a list of teams. We will trade you to the Denver Broncos. And honestly, it was important because the Broncos made 6 postseason appearances with Elway under Dan Reeves. They won the AFC West 3 times. They won the AFC Championship 3 times, and they made they won 5 AFC West titles, sorry. 5 AFC West titles, 3 AFC championships, and 3 Super Bowl appearances where they didn't win. They got outplayed quite badly. And that brings me to my favorite Broncos era, not the most important, but my favorite, which is the Mike Shanahan years. Mike Shanahan really revolutionized this team. He had formerly served under Reeves as the offensive coordinator and returned as the head coach. And he drafted this running back that you may have heard of. His name is Terrell Davis, 1996. They were the top seed in the AFC with a 13-3 record, dominating most of the teams that year. The 5th seeded Jags upset the Broncos 30-27 in the divisional round, ending the 96 run. But that's when it gets into Super Bowl time. 1997. Elway and Davis helped guide the Broncos to their first Super Bowl victory, 31-24 over the defending champion Green Bay Packers. Elway only completed 13-22 that year in the Super Bowl. He threw a pick and no passing touchdowns. He did run one in, but Terrell Davis rushed for 157 yards, the Super Bowl record, 3 touchdowns, to earn himself the Super Bowl MVP award. And then again, they repeated. They went back to back. 1998. They beat the Falcons, who was led by Elway's longtime coach, Dan Reeves. 34-19. And Elway was named Super Bowl MVP, completing 18-29 for 336. Elway hit Rod Smith with an 80-yard touchdown. It was crazy. Elway retired in 98. He was done. Brian Greasy started at quarterback the next 4 seasons and didn't do a whole lot. They managed to get back to the Super Bowl eventually, But first, I want to touch on the Josh McDaniel years, which were ugly. This is the Tim Tebow era. John Fox also part of this, where they were ugly. McDaniel's coming over as an OC, former OC from the Patriots. They couldn't get anything going. Kyle Orton was part of this. It was ugly. It was absolutely ugly. John Fox got the team rolling in the right direction, but couldn't get them over the hump. And in comes Gary Kubiak. Gary Kubiak. And in 2015, after making a very significant pickup during the John Fox, sorry, I glazed over something super important here. During the John Fox era, they made one of the most significant pickups that they could have done. And that is they signed Peyton Manning. Now, Peyton had gone through a bunch of neck surgeries following the 2011 season, and he couldn't do it. So in March 2012, the Colts had decided they were going to move on from Manning. The Broncos signed him to a 5-year, $96 million contract, and it was incredible. Peyton broke records. They finished 13-3 multiple years in a row. They were the AFC's 1 seed a bunch of times. Coming into 2015, though, Manning was a shell of himself. But that Wade Phillips defense, oh, that was special because honestly, they went on and won Super Bowl 50 in Peyton's last year. Peyton went out on top. He said, "You know what? That's good enough for me. I'm done. I am good. I'm done." And then we get to now. I say then we get to now. I know I'm skipping like 2017 and 18 and yeah, okay, they didn't have a great run there. Vance Joseph was in there. Peyton had retired. Kubiak had Trevor Simeon and Brock Osweiler and Paxton Lynch, Case Keenum for a little bit, and then Simeon again, and then it wasn't great. And then Vic Fangio came in, and well, he didn't get a lot of help either. Joe Flacco was the quarterback for a bit. Drew Lock got a little bit of a start, and then we had Von Miller go out to a season-ending ankle injury. It just got really ugly until finally the Broncos said, there is only one thing we can do: sell the team to Walmart. So the Waltons buy the team, and honestly, good for them. But before that, just before that, on March 16th, 2022, the Broncos decided to do what they did before, except this time in a trade where they traded Drew Lock, Noah Fant, Shelby Harris, a first rounder, a second rounder, 2023 first, more second round picks. It's 2022 fifth for Russell Wilson, the Seahawks fourth round pick in 2022. And then on June 7th, the Walton Penner era began. And boy, is it not gone well. It's not gone well. Russell Wilson last year threw for 16 touchdowns, 1-6. 1-6. What was Russell's lowest touchdown total ever? It was 16. 16. He had 25 his last year in Seattle. He had 40 the year before that, 31, 35, 34, and 20 and 21 a couple of times in those early years, 2015, 2016. But Russell has not been good. 16 touchdowns, sacked 55 times, so not getting a ton of help. Threw for 3,500 yards, but it's not been great. And this year, not much better. 6 touchdowns to date, 791 yards. He has been sacked 10 times already. So that brings me to the final thing. What does the future hold for the Denver Broncos? Well, the Denver Broncos are in a tough spot right now because Russell Wilson's contract goes for a while. It's not as easy as saying, well, why don't we just get rid of Russell? Because you can't do that. You can't just get rid of Russ. I mean, you might be able to trade Russell, but you need to be bad and you need to draft a quarterback. Russell is signed. Buddy. All right. 2023, he signed. 2024, he signed. 2025, he signed. 2026, he signed. 2027, he signed. 2028, he is signed. He signed for 8 million this year base salary, 17 million next year base salary, 37 million in 2025 base salary, 40 million in 2026 base salary 44, and 50 million through 2028, and he becomes a UFA in 2029. 124 million fully guaranteed. Fully guaranteed. The future is not bright for Denver right now. You have incredible weapons in Jerry Jeudy, in Cortland Sutton. Troutman looks to be an exceptional tight end, but everything is going to live and die on the arm of Russell Wilson. And unfortunately, the 35-year-old quarterback has shown a great regression. He has a great regression. So until he is able to really perform, until he is able to really, truly get going on a level where you're going to start to see some dividends, this team is going to be bad. And unfortunately, the division isn't easy. It's a tough division to play in. If I were a Broncos fan, I'd be asking myself, Russ, what can we do to fix this, man? How can we make this work? That's going to be it for me today. I appreciate everyone for jumping in. Thanks for coming and checking out another brief team history for the Denver Broncos this time. If you haven't checked out my Bears history, you're going to want to go and check that out over on YouTube or Facebook. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe. And lastly, be kind to people. I'll see you on the next one. Peace.